Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I play Really Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker, Michael Parker, playing the Druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We are joined once again, dear listeners, for a tale of epic fantasy. We got quite the formal engagement lined up, so let's get right into it. When last we left our heroes, Hector, Rilla, and Ruger were in the city of Everspring, where they had just gotten some very unfortunate information. The last piece of the spell they need to fix reality and end the Glyph Purge, the Cipher Golem, retrieved from the Badlands so long ago by Ruger Firehide, his very self, is nearing completion, but there is a component that is required to finish up the work of rebuilding this incredibly important artifact. A very rare component known as a platinum gyro. Our heroes have been informed that so rare is this piece of golem construction that even the turnkeys, the masters of all that is mechanical in the city of Everspring, have not run across any in the field, and in fact the only known location of one lies within the mechanical heart of the Iron Shogun himself, the ruler of the dwarven hold of Grotmire beneath the city of Everspring. It turns out that the Iron Shogun is kept alive by a iron golem body working as a life support system, and this body does contain a platinum gyro. However, its removal will spell the end of this venerable ruler who has guided the dwarves for some 600 years. Our heroes have been invited to a state dinner in the hold of the Iron Shogun, and have made some preparations for this most auspicious occasion, getting some new outfits, buying some very high-quality ale, and Hector, not content with this scenario, has been eagerly searching for some workaround that might spare the life of this ancient ruler. While all that's been going on, Zurabak has been at war with the Knights of the Pyre. He and the Queen of the Ashen Isles, Letitia Skullsplitter, buzzed through their encampment in the raging sands and caused chaos, sending dust devils raging through their camp and dispatching more than a few of their number before making a quick exit after suffering an onslaught of attacks from this army of knights and sorcerers. So, the last thing that happened in our previous episode is that as Rilla and Ruger were discussing their options for dispatching the King of the Dwarves, Hector the Gatekeeper sought out other methods to retrieve a platinum gyro and had returned to the Crooked Stool Tavern, where Ruger and Rilla were having their conversation, with news. Hector?
Have you guys ever heard of Fel?
You mean like the city?
The very one.
Yeah, I heard tell. Why do you mention?
I have no idea what that is, personally.
Oh, it's a terrible, fucked up place deep in the Badlands where nothing but terrible, horrible, no good things happen. Anyways, Hector, what do you mention?
Cool.
But once upon a time, it was a glorious city of great technological advancement.
Mm-hmm.
They built golems there. They built golems with platinum gyros there.
Ah,
Uh-huh.
okay. Mm-hmm.
And,
If there's anywhere else that we could ever possibly find one, it would be there.
well now, Hector, that's a great point. I'm sure there's all kinds of treasure there, considering everyone who's ever gone there has died or never returned.
Well, now that sounds like our kind of place.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
it really
that's kind of been our
does. And
whole
as
thing.
soon as I said it, I was like, shit.
I would like the three of you to make me a raw intelligence check as you discuss this fallen city of man deep in the heart of the Badlands.
Can I use strength instead?
You sure can't. Naked intelligence. D20 plus your intelligence modifier.
14.
I got a 10.
9.
All right, Ruger, you remember that on one of your meetings with the diviner in her tower, she told you she was working hard to try to identify the Lord Deceiver, trying to track down their base of operation and put a face to this mysterious name you keep coming across. And the Lord Deceiver did inform you that she believes that the Lord Deceiver's base of operations is in the city of Fell.
All right. Hector, listen, buddy. I feel I should shoot you straight. A, I wasn't yanking your chain when I said that everybody who's ever gone ain't never come back, and I mean that earnestly. Secondly, I do seem to recall that my dear ex's new wife, the diviner, well, she might have made mention that there's a high probability that the Lord Deceiver has set up shop in Old Fell, and I'm not too confident about storming those gates quite yet.
No, we shouldn't storm the gates. In fact, I think Fell has some of the finest gates in the history of walls.
I'm sure they're quite nice, Hector. Probably.
We're not talking about storming the gates. We're talking about slipping in. We need to find the remnants of a single automaton.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we gotta do, Ruger. I mean, it's gonna be super easy.
I didn't say it would be easy, but
Well, okay. Let's entertain the notion for a minute. I'll admit, some of you all have some clever tricks in your magical bags, and especially that wily Zerbeck. So, maybe. But should also make mention that, Hector, these days we all kind of have a divine stank about us. Myself in particular. I worry about hiding our auras of greatness, if you know what I'm saying.
I do. There may be ways around that. That's a good point.
Well, worth investigating, for sure, because maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but if the Lord Deceiver don't come to us, we're eventually going to have to go there. So, worth figuring it out one way or another. But Hector, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen in a flash. And I think we have a dinner we might need to attend.
But this changes the entire conversation of the dinner.
And how are you fixing to present this case then?
I mean, I feel like there's not much to say other than there's options now.
Well, I know if I were a powerful ruling king, and the options were, self-sacrifice and death, or sending some people I don't care about to die in a city, I know which one I'd pick. But
Yeah.
even if there's a chance of your second option working, it doesn't mean we'll actually find anything. There were gyros there. They could have been destroyed already or taken throughout the centuries or used by, the Lord Deceiver. We have no idea what is remaining there or what we would be facing. But it doesn't guarantee that there's gonna be a solution there,
Well, on the notion of not knowing what we'd be facing, I'm wondering if maybe a conversation with the diviner is in order. If anybody knows anything, she's a good candidate.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think we have an automatic solution yet by any means. And I
We
do
don't.
think,
But perhaps we stress the dire importance of the platinum gyro, and we present that we are doing literally everything we can to get it any other way, and maybe if we fail to find one there,
then we murder him. I gotcha.
that will have softened him up as far as being receptive to the idea.
Well, we'll risk our lives, and if we fail, then he can risk his. But, failure in a place like Fell likely means death for everybody involved. Painful death.
And
Have you heard what happened to Evan's uncle?
if we die, can the ritual continue? How important are we to that?
Well,
At this point,
If
all
we're-
of the
That's an excellent question, Rilla. You notice that Anthony Geist is standing behind you all. You didn't notice him come in.
hey there, guy.
I jump straight up in the air.
Didn't see you there. Not a big fan of that, actually.
I have regained a few more of my powers. Stealth is the least of them.
Great.
Mr.
That's
Firehide.
wonderful.
In answer to your question, Miss Longshadow, your work thus far has been invaluable. If we can get this final piece, this platinum gyro, and rebuild this cipher golem, we will have my grimoire, the means to read it, and every ingredient required to cast this spell. Honestly, if all of these components are collected, none of us matter all that much anymore. We'll simply need someone to walk through the gateway and restore the strand to its rightful place.
All right, then.
What do you think, Anthony? What's your opinion on this idea of Hector's? Should we just try and kill this dwarf king?
Well, it is certainly an interesting question. In my younger days, I may have simply favored an assassination plan. There are many, many ways to kill a monarch. Some a bit messier than others, but I'm sure it's nothing beyond your considerable capabilities. Though that sort of chaos this close to the finish line could cause more harm than good. You wouldn't want to sow distrust among the various factions culminating here in Everspring. However, even my silver tongue would be hard-pressed to convince the King of the Dwarves to give his life to help cast this spell. He has much to lose. Hector's idea is noble and could spare many people much grief, but it is quite the long shot. I think I'd prefer talking someone into suicide over a suicide mission myself. But my self-serving impulses are responsible for us being in this mess in the first place.
I light up a cigarette.
And with this pause in the conversation, we're going to jump to Zurabak. Zurabak, you are on the Isle of Niho, the isle that is your kingdom, your hold, your dukedom, I should say. You're chilling in the Devourer's Keep on your island composed of jagged black rock with sulfurous pools. You are gazing longingly at your flowing lava wall inside your entrance when Pretty Polly approaches you. Forgive me, Lord, but surprisingly enough, we've got a messenger here on the island. Not exactly sure how he made it all this way, but there's a dwarf here to see you.
He probably walked.
To the island, Lord? You think that's possible? Well, shall I bring him in, your lordship?
Sure.
Polly turns around, clears his throat. Ye may enter! The doors to your keep open wide as Mrs. Fisher throws them aside with her massive ogre muscles, and a dwarf in black lacquered plate armor with a very elaborate helm and a curved sword at his side marches stiffly into your keep. Approaches you at a respectful distance and says, Duke Zurabak, I have a message from the Iron Shogun. And he drops into a kneel. He kneels on one knee and puts a fist over his heart in salute.
Oh, okay.
His lordship, the Iron Shogun, wishes your attendance at a state dinner at his hold in Grotmire. He is to entertain the protagonists and has requested the honor of your presence as well.
Sure. I guess. Like, today, right now?
The feast is just this evening. I can accompany you to the portal if you wish.
Oh, right, there is a portal. He probably went through the portal.
Your lordship, of course he did. I'm sure that's it, right. The dwarf says, you are allowed, as is customary, an honor guard, though of course no weapons may enter the presence of the Iron Shogunate.
Define weapons.
He raises his head like a fraction of an inch, and you can see he's kind of trying to eye you like through his eyebrows. He quickly regains his stiff, formal composure and says, anything that can be used to... Any weapon forged by mortals to kill mortals? You know, weapons. Your grace.
Well, Snake, I don't think you can come.
Snake flicks his tongue annoyedly and then coils up close to the lava wall to soak in that ambient heat.
Fucking lava wall.
I know. I'll see if I can get a wheelbarrow to go.
He lashes his tail approvingly.
Sure. You guys want to go? I gotta find my loud one.
Right, your lordship. I'd be delighted to go to a state dinner as your Castellan, of course. I believe you left your herald in the city of Everspring. He didn't seem to like the island all that much anyway.
I mean, that's fair. This place is awful.
It does reek. It does reek, your lordship. It truly does.
All right.
Polly says, right, let me change into something a bit more formal. And, Mrs. Fisher, we're going on a trip. Yay, trip! She jumps up and down, shaking the walls of your keep as you all prepare to head out to a state dinner. Quick cut to Hector, Rilla, and Ruger. Yeah, y'all are at the Crooked Stool Bar, having this little convo. Do y'all want to do anything before you go to this dinner?
The usual. Get cleaned up.
Get shit-faced? Oh.
Get cleaned up, put on my fineries, all that jazz.
Sweet.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, like, go home and change.
Okay. Sweet.
Probably take baths, I would think.
Definitely.
That would be a good thing to do.
Sweet. Yeah, you guys head back to your various rooms. Where are y'all staying these days? Are you still staying in your rooms at the college, or do y'all have rooms someplace else? Where do your characters stay?
Is there other rooming available?
Okay, so Hector's still staying at the college. Great.
Rilla also stays at the college. It's nice that my sister's here, but we don't need to live right next to each other all the time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You're right. My herald probably lives at the college.
Yeah, your herald
In the
definitely.
room that was meant for Sir Pack.
Cedric is auditing courses at the college for oratory. That is what he's doing right now. He's learning what he can from these bards. Hector, do you still stay at the college? Ruger, do you still stay at the college?
Yeah, definitely. I like to separate myself from my work life. So
excellent. Well, yeah. The three of you head back to the college, and we get a nice, lovely, nostalgic, party taking a bath scene,
Nice.
just like the old days when you first got here.
Rilla is late to that bath party because once they head to the bath, I take this adamantine hammer and I lean it up against the bedpost in Hector's room, and I just walk out of his room.
No shit. You dropped the hammer on him?
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the incredibly well-crafted adamantine hammer that you found in the Giant's Forge all the way up in the Shatterbark Wood. Yeah, while the fellas head to the baths, you stealthily creep into Hector's room and, yeah, leave that propped right against his bedpost. It seems fitting there next to the rest of his gear and clothing, like it's found its home. Very nice. And, yeah, you all enjoy a nice bath, get cleaned and scrubbed, and put on your formal regalia. Now, remind me, Hector, you're wearing your cheetah print formal wear made for you by... oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting.
Charissa Lamstrand.
Charissa Lamstrand. God damn. Yeah. So Hector's wearing his leather and cheetah fur finery that he got from Charissa Lamstrand, and
Not seen since the wedding.
not seen since the wedding. Yeah, man only needs 2 suits. One for weddings and one for funerals, and this might be number 2. And I believe Ruger and Rilla, you two got custom outfits specifically for this dinner to honor the traditions of the Iron Eye clan. Ruger, you have a lovely, all-encompassing overcoat made up of about palm-sized rectangular plates of thin metal, all connected to each other with small rings. And it covers you like a robe from collar to the top of your boots. And it's got these solid shoulder piece pauldrons on either side, and Rilla has a beautiful flowing gown made up of chainmail with every link shaped like a triangle, making these dazzling geometric patterns all over it.
Really, I think my dress is prettier than yours.
Well, I mean, you're old and your eyesight's obviously going, but it's fine.
Yeah, for a second I thought you were Dara, and then I realized, nah, you're the old haggard one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Excellent. So yeah, you all get dressed, and Hector, when you leave the bath and go back to your room to get dressed, you see leaned against one of your bedposts is the adamantine hammer, Starfall, the hammer forged by the giants so long ago.
That's a good name. I like that.
Hey, thanks. I made it up myself. It is a beautiful warhammer, a little larger than a warhammer would normally be for a human, but in your experienced grip and your familiarity with oversized weapons, it feels right in the palm of your hand. It's got a long black metal handle covered in ancient runes, and the head of it is this jagged, raw hunk of beautiful, shining adamantine shaped like a rough teardrop, with a band around it connecting it to the very well-constructed handle.
Hector just takes a minute, rubs his hand over the runes, and then over the hammerhead. And it casts Identify.
Hell yeah. You weave your bardic magics over this hammer to reach into the ether and draw forth knowledge of this item. And it's a good thing you did. This is a +1 thundering weapon. This hammer is made out of adamantine, which means it ignores quite a good deal of object hardness, which means it's very good at just breaking shit, breaking things. And it also has the thundering enchantment, which means when it scores a critical hit, let's see, the damage multiplier for a warhammer is, I think, ×3. So when this thing scores a critical hit, it does an extra 2d8 points of sonic damage. Yep. Starfall, a +1 thundering adamantine warhammer.
All right. And then, yeah, Hector gets dressed. We're not going to be allowed to have weapons at the dinner, so Hector's going to leave it in his room.
Well, weapons will not be allowed. That is true. But the Iron Eye clan does value martial prowess and just metallurgy. You walk out of your room in your cheetah print outfit, and you see Rilla and Ruger both dressed in metal, and you realize you don't have nearly enough metal. This thing is enough of an oddity that you could probably get away with bringing it with you just as a showpiece.
Okay.
You know this metal is rare enough that any dwarf would kill to see it.
I immediately call Hector out on bringing a hammer. Now, Hector, they said no weapons.
So, you all finish your preparations. Hector, you grab that cask of Dragon Breath Ale, right?
Yes, of course.
Great. You all gather yourself up, and as you make your way out of the college to the main foyer, out into the quad, there is a incredibly well-crafted black carriage parked outside. It is pulled by a team of 4 horses, that are dressed up to the nines with elaborate horse blankets. There are plumes of black feathers that are held in little bands over their heads. And there are two dwarven footmen, not dressed in armor like most of the dwarves you see on the surface, but dressed in finery, doublets and breeches and boots, all black and gray, with a large eyeball sigil on their breasts. And as you all come out, they say, "Protagonists, the time has come. We are here to take you to the Iron Shogun. Please, if you will." And they open up the door to this black carriage and wave you in.
I give him a nod and get in the carriage.
As I go to step in the carriage, I just real quick turn back to Rilla, nod and say, and then get in.
Cool. I climb into the carriage myself like a proud, strong woman who doesn't have two assholes who never offer the polite hand. It's fine. I'm not in a long, slinky gown or anything. Whatever.
Hey, I'm wearing a dress too.
Hector's only got one hand.
Wow.
The dwarven footmen are well trained, and they offer to give you a hand up. But yes, you are.
Yeah,
strong.
I take that and I thank them about 15 times. Oh, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be in the presence of a gentleman for the first time in my entire life. Thank you. Over and am I glaring at them?
I'm already on my second cigarette.
Leave my ass behind.
Oh, jeez.
Excellent.
Sam,
yeah.
I would like to mention, just for posterity's sake, that I am routinely just pinging my detectival. Just keeping an eye out.
It's your
great.
fidget thing now, right?
Would you say?
Yeah, that's a
just fidget
solid
with it.
impulse for sure.
Yeah, it's just kind of spraying sonar every once in a while, just seeing what's up.
Yeah, that's the most paladin thing ever. Hey, is that guy evil? No, okay. But what about that guy? Is that guy evil? All right, okay. We'll see. Yeah, you fire that off. You get no traces, thankfully, as your carriage door is closed behind you. And you all are whisked away in this horse-drawn carriage through the streets of Everspring. Again, the city is on a bit more of a war footing than normal, and you see regularly soldiers...
Wait, were we going to talk to the diviner? Is that like a tomorrow thing?
Yeah,
I thought we were going to go and prepare it a bit more.
We'll do that after.
Oh, I mean...
When are we going to do that after?
I mean, you're in the carriage, so...
Yeah, I was thinking that was a later day conversation myself.
All right.
We're just banking on the fact that we're going to fail at this dinner, and then we're going to have to go with plan B of invading the stronghold in the worst place on this entire continent.
Murderfest?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question. Who's leading the persuasion rolls? And is it Hector? Is Hector the one talking for us? Like, what's the goal here? Because we're all fairly charismatic characters, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Who's got the biggest diplomacy check?
I've got a 10 in diplomacy.
13.
Damn.
Oh, 11.
So Ruger should be the one talking.
I got a 1. and a 7 if we're in the Ashen Isles.
Shit, I don't want to be the one
Now,
talking.
if we're lying to him, my bluff's a 13. But,
yeah, I can't bluff at all.
Parker, you wrote your diplomacy bonus down. You said you weren't going to do that. I'm so proud of you. Oh, that makes me happy.
You told me to.
I did.
You literally forced me.
Here's the thing. You listened, and that's what I'm surprised and delighted by, is all. Because I know you. So, Rilla, Ruger, and Hector, you are whisked away through the streets of Everspring. The city is on more of a war footing than it's ever been. You see through the thronging crowds of people going on about their business, different groups of soldiers of various stripes. There's druids, barbarians, bards, knights, elven archers all around training in empty courtyards, running drills and checking fortifications. The city's a little less musical and just a little less colorful than it normally is as you make your way through the streets. But every dwarven guard that is walking through the streets salutes this carriage and the drivers on it as it winds its way through. They sort of stop and put a fist over their heart as it rolls past. And eventually you get to the enormous stone platform that leads down into the hold of Grotmire. Zurabak, your staff, Pretty Polly and Mrs. Fisher, accompany you along with this dwarven guard across the island. You see that he rowed to your island in a surprisingly small rowboat that he starts to climb in. He doesn't realize that Bitey is still idling off the coast of your island awaiting your command.
He's a good shark.
He's a very good shark. He's still idling there. So you and your crew load up on Bitey, and you all dash on this giant dire shark across the waters.
We take his rowboat too.
For sure, yeah.
It's important to a man to keep his water vessel.
Absolutely. No, he ties his shit to the back of your shark and is like, yeah, let's do this. You speed across the choppy, stormy waters of the Ashen Isle until you get to the Shattered Shoals, this ancient accumulation of wrecked ships where Pretty Paul used to keep his office, and you hit the portal leading to the college. And as you make your way through the standing stone portals and through the College of Everspring with your entourage, you get quite a few looks from the students and staff there that haven't seen you in quite a while. And you get out into the quad out in front of the college, and there is a black carriage waiting for you with a team of 4 horses and 2 dwarven footmen who open the door as you approach.
Wait. I need to pick up my herald. He's somewhere around here, I think. I just shout really loud for him.
I'm over here, boss. Sorry, I'm over here, boss. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I promise. And Cedric rushes from a shaded alcove under a tree where he was talking to a couple of co-eds, and rushes over in his elaborate goatskin cloak, the horns hovering atop his head as he rushes over to you and gives an awkward salute. My Lord Zurabak, Cedric the Herald, reporting for duty. And he starts to raise his horn to his horn of blasting to like salute, and then he puts it back down real quick. Right, sorry. Time and place.
Save that. We're going to a dinner.
We're going to a dinner? Sweet. Where are we going?
He looks at Zurabak, kind of like stops for a moment and looks at the dwarf.
We are going to the clan hold of the Iron Shogun in the depths of Grotmire. And Cedric goes, oh, awesome. I've always wanted to see the dwarven stronghold of Grotmire. Let's go.
I just had a terrible thought.
What's that?
You just lured Zurabak into a van with the promise of candy. He's being kidnapped.
Yeah, I could drive this thing off a cliff and you just die. It'd be hilarious. You don't have Featherfall prepared. So you and Cedric and Pretty Polly all climb up into this wagon. Mrs. Fisher, who is taller than this carriage, kind of looks at it doubtfully. And the drivers kind of scratch their heads, but then she just sort of climbs onto the back of it. The axles groan under her weight, but the horses wicker and dutifully plod through the streets of the city. Let's see. Zurabak, what are you wearing to the dinner? Are you just wearing your white mantle and spiked armor?
The white mantle and spiked armor with still the blood of my enemies on it.
Fantastic. Let's see. Yeah, your herald's wearing his big goatskin cloak with the horns over his head. Pretty Polly is wearing a nice black coat and tails. Sort of like a little tuxedo with a very formal looking captain's hat. And Mrs. Fisher is wearing a frilly black ball gown made of shimmering satin with a skull and crossbones firmly embossed on the bust. Yeah, and you all head out as well. Zurabak, as your carriage goes through the streets of the city of Everspring, you see the weak and feeble denizens of this horrifically...
Yeah, but there's less music, so it's an improvement.
Yes, it is. There are more weapons and more determined faces. More people are scared and sort of angry, and there's way less music. So it is a little more pleasant for sure as you make your way through the town. And your carriage eventually pulls up to the enormous stone platform leading down to the depths of Grotmire. And you are surprised to see there is another black carriage on the platform.
Do I detect Zurabak?
You absolutely detect Zurabak's approach. As you were scanning around for evil creatures, you get a blip on your radar.
Jerk up in my chair.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
I reach for my new hammer.
The stink of sulfur assails your nostrils, Ruger, as a black carriage pulls up right next to yours, and you see through your window, through the window of the other carriage, Zurabak and his entourage.
Oh, you're right. We should have brought a barrel of gunpowder as a gift.
Zurabak, you had a month since that was discovered. Do you want to bring a barrel of gunpowder as a gift?
Yeah. Well, Zurabak doesn't suggest it. Pretty Polly does, clearly.
Yeah, he's sitting on it. He's very nervous. So yeah, Zurabak's carriage pulls up right next to y'all, and you all see each other through the windows of your various carriages.
I get out of the carriage. Zurabak.
What?
What are you doing here, Zurabak?
Steak dinner?
How'd you hear about this dinner? Where you been?
I point at the dwarf.
I look at the dwarf suspiciously.
Yeah, one of the dwarven footmen that is piloting this carriage leans down and says, Duke Zurabak is an important political figure, is noble in his own right, and has been part of the exploits of
Really made a fart noise at that.
Raspberries.
Noble my ass.
He's been invited to the dinner along with the rest of you.
Sense motive.
Yeah, they said no weapons, so I had to leave Snake behind.
Zurabak, I hate to mention that it looks like you brought a keg of explosives.
It's a gift for the Iron Shogun, Mr. Firehide. Top flight.
Is the Iron Shogun aware of how this monster eats?
Yeah, this is a terrible idea, but I mean, all right, sure. Why not? Worst case, bad things happen and people die.
Mr. Fire...
You mean best case?
I think that the gift combination of a barrel of gunpowder and a whiskey that makes you breathe fire may solve all of our problems for us.
This is going splendidly. Fantastic. All right. I roll up a cigarette and then look at the door.
Oh, I stabbed some of them fire people.
Come again.
What?
You know the one lady I promised to drink lava?
Conflagration.
I promised her she was going to drink
Yeah.
lava.
Yeah. What about her?
Yeah, I went to their home base and stabbed a lot of them.
Huh? You did what now?
Like a whole lot of them. Snake ate some.
Like how many?
I don't know. There was only one worth remembering.
What was that one conflagration?
No, I didn't get there. They had these stupid bullshit magic people.
Yeah, okay, they'll do that. Oh, all right, Sir Backwell. I'm glad you're alive. Glad you bloodied their nose, and hell, funny enough, I actually went looking for you to have a steak dinner with you, so here we are.
I look at my herald. You didn't tell me there were steak dinners.
You seem to. Oh, you're Harold. Sorry.
The other one.
Yeah, he has such a large staff. I forget.
I hate this campaign so much.
Cedric says, "Sorry, boss. I was a little busy. Been taking some classes there at the college, and I guess I got a little wrapped up. I apologize, but I promise I'm a better herald for it. I can't wait to show off my skills at this dinner." And as he says that, the enormous chains and pulleys that operate this huge lift start to clack and clatter, and this huge elevator starts to descend down into the depths of Grotmire. The sunlight is swallowed up above you as you are lowered down, down, down into the enormous cylindrical shaft that makes up the home of the dwarves underneath Everspring.
Hector hums some music.
Roll a perform check, motherfucker.
Hey, Sam.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity.
Yes.
Is it cool if I have my steel shield strapped to my back?
Sure.
I mean, it's a
Why?
defensive. What? I'm just asking.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Great, thank you.
Music isn't my forte as far as performance is concerned, so I only got a 17.
It's damn fine music, Hector. You, the footmen piloting your carriage are nodding along satisfactorily as you hum this music. Yeah, and the sunlight is swallowed as you are lowered down to this giant dwarven hold. It's a huge cylindrical shaft, hundreds of feet across, thousands of feet down, that is composed of an enormous spiral ramp that just winds its way down this giant cylindrical space. And in the center of this huge hold is a waterfall pouring straight down the middle, rushing, roaring column of water provided by Lake Danum above, which is caught in a dizzying array of water wheels which turn cogs, which turn more cogs that power the industry here in Grotmire. And as the platform lowers and your carriages take off, spiraling down, 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 you are within the heart of the dwarven kingdom. Dwarves in armor and in regular clothing team around you, all making way for these carriages. Some of them saluting, some bowing as you pass by. Obviously, VIPs. You see a lot of people trying to get a peek inside and like muttering behind their hands as you make your way through. And eventually, as you pass forges, businesses, homes, and swarms of dwarves bustling about in their various industries, you get lower than you've ever been. You pass by the vault, you pass by the prison, you pass by some entrances to a few of the mines, and you get to the absolute bottom of this shaft. It takes like 30 minutes in carriages. It takes a long, long, long time to wind and wind and wind your way down. and the light is sparse here. It is very dark. Dwarves don't need light to see, and so there are very few torches or sources of light anywhere. It gets pretty fucking dim. The dwarven footmen piloting your craft, Rilla, Ruger, and Hector, light a couple of lanterns for your benefit and hang them from the corner of the carriage to
I'm good. Thanks.
yeah, to sort of light your way. And from the light of these lanterns, you can see this deep down. The ramp spiraling down is not as wide as it was up above. It gets narrower and narrower as you go down, but and the holds, the businesses, all of the dwellings carved into the side of this rock wall get sparser as well. They're replaced with these enormous, incredibly well-crafted reliefs of dwarves engaged in battle, in commerce, engaged in revelry, these beautiful carvings that seem like living beings. You can almost feel the wind blowing through these carvings of wheat fields in the stone. You can almost see the sparks flying off these weapons locked in eternal battle carved in the rock. You can almost hear the laughter and song of these scenes of dwarven revelry. This is some of the finest craftsmanship you've ever seen, and the rock seems almost alive with these beautiful tableaus as you wind your way down. And finally, you get to a place farther down where there is a long line of carriages just like yours, all waiting to disgorge their passengers before a gorgeous palace carved of blood red stone that sits directly underneath this column of flowing water which falls some thousands of feet from the top of Grotmire all the way down here to the bottom. It is a gorgeously carved stone structure that forms this sharp point that seems to pierce right into the heart of this waterfall, and the water breaks over it, spilling down these massive channels on either side to form a huge placid moat that surrounds this red stone structure, carved that it looks like crimson waves of water itself. It gets hard to tell the difference between the waterfall above and the palace itself. There's an enormous red stone gate in front that opens into a broad courtyard before the actual keep. And there's a line of black carriages slowly moving forward to let out passengers. And as you peek out the window, you see that many of the other carriages have lanterns strung along them to give light to many other guests. There are merchants, scholars, entertainers, dwarven, human, elven, all sorts of wealthy and influential people seem to have been invited to this particular gathering. And it takes a while for you all to get to the front of the line, where you are let out into a giggling and chatting crowd of wealthy, influential guests that sort of team in this courtyard. The footmen open the door to let you all out, and you are put into a receiving line. A page approaches you as you all stand in line waiting to be allowed in to the grand hall and asks your names and your titles.
I look at the herald.
I look at my herald.
Sure, yeah, is that me? Sure. Well, I mean, let's see, we've got Ruger Firehide, let's see, servant of Protos, knight captain commander of the Order of the Quill. We've got Rilla Longshadow, the hero of 1,000 faces. The the leader of the elven people, Rilla the Returned. We've got Hector the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates, the Bard Extraordinaire of the College of Everspring, and I'll take care of my guy. Don't you worry about it, kid. And he like flips him a nickel, just sort of preens. And the page nods and wanders off.
Hector sighs deeply.
Use the new horn.
I'm jealous of y'all's titles.
Do I possibly recognize the horn after Zurabak says that? Like the kind of thing it is.
I mean, not offhand. It just looks like a fancy horn. If you cast like detect magic, you could tell it's definitely fucking magic. Zurabak, you tell Cedric to use the horn. It's like, yeah, boss. I don't know if that's a good idea. This thing will like. You don't want me to like blast them, do you? Because that's gonna cause some problems, I think.
I mean, I guess.
Okay, thank God. Okay, thank Protos. Okay, that could have been bad.
Actually, Cedric, no, it'll be fine.
Huh?
Use the horn.
Look, I'll blow the horn, but I'm just not gonna like, really blast it, because that's not gonna be good for anybody. It's a really good horn, you guys. You don't know. After a few minutes of chatter, you all move up in this line, and you hear various titles of various local influential people being called out as they get inside, and you eventually pass through the threshold of this enormous, beautifully carved blood red keep, and you are in a grand entrance hall. The ceiling soars 50 feet above you. Beautiful carved chandeliers made of some rare crystal shine like stars in the night sky, blazing with light, filling this room with beautiful web work of dazzling beams of light. There's a huge ballroom floor that is flanked by two grand staircases sweeping up, and directly before you is a broad staircase sort of leading down to this ballroom where a huge variety of these rich and important people have assembled, tittering over cocktail glasses. There is a wide array of dwarven servants in finery that looks uncomfortably close to caterers' garb, handing out drinks and snacks on silver platters.
The worst kind of person.
And yeah, you each hit the step in turn, and as you each hit the top step, a house herald announces all of you. Who goes first?
Okay.
All right, Hector, you go first. Announcing the protagonist, Hector, son of Rufus, commander of the gatekeepers, and bard extraordinaire of the College of Everspring. And there's a light round of applause as you travel down this staircase, and everyone gets a look at you. Who's next?
I go next.
Rilla, you sashay forward in your clinking chainmail gown.
When he announces me, I cast I can't talk today.
Prestidigitation.
I can't talk. There you go. I make myself all glowy. I want like a burst of gold when he says my name to like flow out from behind me.
Fantastic. Announcing Rilla the Returned, commander of the elven people, the hero of 1,000 faces, protagonist from the Springvale Forest. And you glow with a shimmering golden hue, and there's a very satisfying amount of ooh, ah, as you are announced and you sashay your way down these stairs in your beautiful gown.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely go next, keeping order with how we introduce ourselves at the beginning.
Yeah, nobody wants to follow Zerback.
Definitely
Nobody
not.
wants to follow
And it should be
Zerback.
noted, and Rilla's all out there shining and stuff. I'm kind of shuffling awkwardly from the attention.
Yeah, you approach the top step, sort of hiding your face a bit with the broad brim of your cap. And
Quick question: how big is this staircase?
oh man, it's pretty big. It's like 30 feet wide and drops down like 50 feet to the ballroom floor.
All right.
All right. Now I shuffle even more nervously.
Yeah, Ruger, you approach the top step, and you are announced. Presenting the protagonist, Ruger Firehide, servant of Protos and Knight Captain Commander of the Order of the Quill.
I salute.
And there is a nice, respectable golf clap as you make your way down the staircase. And then Zerback approaches, and
Hector is going to cast a spell whenever Cedric goes to blow the horn.
Zerback's also going to cast a spell.
fantastic. Well, the dwarven caller that announced everyone else starts to open their mouth, and then Cedric quickly gives him a little nudge to get him out of the way, and raises his horn and sucks in a big gust of air. Hector, what are you going to do?
I'm going to cast Sculpt Sound. I'm going to change the sound that's coming out of the horn.
To what?
It's just... I'm just going to make it so that it's like a nice, simple but lovely like revelry, but as though it's being played by like 20 hornsmen.
Oh, nice!
All coming out of one horn.
Very cool. Gonna give him a little buff. Excellent.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Zerback?
We're gonna obscuring mist, so it like sort of creeps down the stairs as I enter.
You motherfucker!
The fucking Undertaker just walking in this bitch.
Yeah, it's important.
So yeah, Ruger, as you walk down the steps, there's a bank of fog that creeps down after you. And through the... as a cloud of mist starts to tumble down the staircase. And yeah, Cedric raises a horn to his lips, and he blows, and Hector, you sculpt this sound so a beautiful, blasting revelry, crystal clear and sharp as a knife, cuts through all the chatter of the evening. Cedric looks down shocked at his horn for a moment, but quickly regains himself. And as Zerback walks through this cloud of mist, Cedric says, full of pride and duty, announcing His Grace, Duke Zerback, King of the Shocker Lizards, Champion of the Goats, Emperor of the Rats, and Duke of the Isle of Neho, Zerback the Unburned. There is stunned silence in the entire ballroom as everyone is completely shocked.
I golf clap.
And then a very appreciative woo round of applause breaks through, a thunderous applause, and Hector, your brother Cedric like blushes visibly and bows deeply. And then he quickly remembers, he is accompanied by his castellan, Pretty Polly of the Ashen Isles, and his bodyguard, Mrs. Fisher of the Ashen Isles. He just shrugs. He doesn't. No one knows what Mrs. Fisher's job is.
Eye candy?
And Pretty Polly and Mrs. Fisher swagger down the stairs after you, looking fancy as fuck. And you all approach the ballroom. And you are all four of you are immediately just surrounded by people who are desperate to get a piece of you, talk to you, ask you questions about your various adventures. Is it true you've all been to the Badlands? Is it true you faced down a dragon? Is it true that you all are the key to fixing everything? Everyone's just fawning all over you in like a...
Every answer is answered with a yep, yep. Yep.
I quickly try to grab hold of Rilla and drag her away from the press of people and onto the dance floor.
Rilla, do you allow this?
Yeah, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, you two break free from this claustrophobic press. Yeah, Rilla, I can't imagine that you are super digging like a whole horde of people asking you a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten more used to this, but I still don't like it.
Sweet.
So I am fine to dance with Ruger.
Great.
Yeah.
Ruger and Rilla, you all sweep out onto the dance floor to get away from the press of questions. Why don't you two roll me just a quick little perform check? I just want to see how good you are at dancing.
Hey, charisma. All right. Oh!
Uh-oh. Was that a good noise?
No,
or
it's
a
an
bad
excellent noise. That is a critical 20. So that is a 22.
I rolled a 14, but I have a +6 to charisma, so I have a 20.
Oh my god, you guys are fucking killing it. Ruger and Rilla, you two sort of lock arms and make your way out of this crush of people, and you two swing out onto the dance floor, and you immediately just glide across this ballroom. There's a band on a high dais in the corner playing a beautiful waltz, and you two are as light on your feet as you've ever been, and you fucking kill it.
I would like to add that I do my part of entirely just showcasing Rilla and her spangly dress. My whole role in the dance is to keep the attention on her, like twirling and swirling and swinging, whatever.
For sure. Yeah, the soft rattle of chainmail gown is heard throughout the hall as, the trailing bits of metal in the back of your gown swish through the air. And yeah, you two are immediately... It's funny because you wanted to get less attention. You get so much more attention. You are killing it so hard. Everyone else is suddenly like... burning trying to fucking get in step with you. Seeing this, Mrs. Fisher grabs Pretty Polly and just sweeps him out onto the dance floor too, and they awkwardly stumble around doing their best to bust a move.
What percentage of time are Polly's feet on the floor?
Not at all. Mrs. Fisher has like one arm extended and is just kind of pressing him to her chest and kind of just spinning in circles a little bit.
It's beautiful. I have to wipe a tear from my eye.
It's adorable.
Yeah, you hear whoa, whoa, whoa.
I know whose wedding we're attending next.
It's beautiful.
Let's see. As those four go bust a move, a couple of attendants approach you, Zurabak and Hector, and they say, "We understand you have brought gifts for the Iron Shogun?"
Yeah.
Yes.
We shall receive them and place them on the gift table. Is there anything we should know about them?
Keep away from fire.
Understood.
Creates fire.
Understood. 2 separate porters, please. 2 separate porters. And they rush off to grab that. Another attendant says to you, Hector, we understand that you've brought a weapon into the festivities?
It's ornamental. I thought that the shogun himself might be interested. There's not too many adamantine weapons left in the world.
The attendant's eyes go wide. Adamantine? May I? I will need to inspect it, of course, in my official capacity, before it can be allowed within the personage of the Iron Shogun. You understand?
Hector makes a point to sling it from over his shoulder in a way that just makes it seem like it weighs nothing.
Sure.
And then just like drops it into the attendant's hands.
Yeah, it is a very satisfying pull to the ground as you drop it in his hands, and he looks it over and says, "Oh my, this is quite a masterful piece. Giant construction, unless I miss my guess."
You do not.
Beautiful. Well, this will need to be peace-tied if it is to be in the presence of the Iron Shogun. The lieutenant snaps his fingers, and a couple dwarves come over, and they take out some thick sheets of quilted cloth, really thick, like gauzy stuff, kind of like some thick quilts, and they wrap the head and the haft and hand it back to you. They tie it all with wire all the way up and down it in this surprisingly intricate weave pattern. It looks like, it's like watching somebody gift wrap a present, at a store or something. It's very tidy work and quickly done. And he hands it back to you and says, please leave this wrapping on it for the duration of your stay here. If the Iron Shogun wishes to see it closer, it will be brought to him by an attendant. Any attempt to remove the peace tie will result in, well, action. You understand.
I do.
Very well. Please, enjoy yourselves. The dancing will continue for a bit longer before the dinner is fully ready. And he turns and takes off. So yeah, there's a full ballroom with people chatting, dancing, getting down, and there are some servers with trays of hors d'oeuvres and booze wandering around as well.
Yeah, they get flagged down immediately.
Absolutely. Zurabak, now let me ask you, because I'm so curious. You are a duke. You have made pains to increase your noble bearing as time has gone on. You have a keep now. You have a staff. You have titles and a herald. Are you horking down these hors d'oeuvres with the veracity of, say, level 5 Zurabak, or are you trying to affect a level of nobility here?
That's a hard question.
It is, isn't it?
It's a real stumper.
Because if you're gonna flex,
We're gonna go with the in between.
okay. So what I'm picturing is you daintily removing hors d'oeuvres from the tray and then smashing it into your face. Is that about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You see Zurabak like very calmly and precisely like snatching a goblet off a passing tray and then dumping the whole fucking thing in his face. Nice. After a few minutes of dancing and grabbing some hors d'oeuvres, a gong is sounded. And its reverberations crash over the assembled party like waves. And it brings the music playing in the ballroom to an immediate halt. And on a raised platform across the ballroom, an attendant comes out and says, "Most esteemed guests, we welcome you all to Bloodstone Keep, the clan hold of Clan Iron Eye. Dinner is to be served in the feast hall if you will follow us to your seats." And the gong is struck again, and an army of attendants leads you all up the sweeping sets of stairs on either side of the ballroom through another large door. And you find yourselves in a grand feast hall. 3 long stone tables, all carved out of beautiful red stone with long benches. Dominate the room. There's an enormous hearth on either side, blazing warmly with large fires. There is an army of attendants that seemed like they just got done setting the places, and the plates, the silverware, the goblets are all made of the finest silver with tasteful gold accents. The stone of the tables looks like it's carved into beautiful waves. They look like waterfalls laying on their sides. Gorgeous sculpture and architecture in every facet of this room. And past these 3 long tables, all parallel to each other, there are 5 large steps which lead to a raised platform with a long table perpendicular that sort of looks out over this enormous feast hall. You 4 protagonists are approached. You 3 protagonists in Zurabak are approached by
There you go.
You're welcome. By some attendants who say, "Now, you 4 are special guests of the Iron Shogun, and so he has asked if you would do him the honor of joining him at the head table."
Hector bows his head. We are honored by the invitation.
The attendant says, "Right this way," and leads you all past the long tables, which are currently being sat with the rest of the well-dressed, wealthy partygoers, and you are led up these 5 steps to the lead table, and yeah, you are given seats on the far end, but you're like 5 places down from a gigantic stone chair in the center of this table that is obviously designed for a body 2-3 times your size. And yeah, you are all given places, seated right next to each other at the far end of the head table. You look out over this feast hall full of important muckety-mucks who all, some of whom stare daggers at you out of pure jealousy.
I stare back.
You absolutely do. The ones that meet your gaze immediately turn to look at their plates. And as everyone gets their seats, another gong is struck. Gong. The sound radiating out over the room, and everyone is silent. And an attendant comes out and says, "Presenting the Lady Esmerelle, heir to the throne, and the Watcher of the Depths, the Warden of the Clans, the Shogun of Grotmire, Dolbear Ironeye, the Iron Shogun." And everyone applauds as a curtain behind this table is pulled aside, and you see a middle-aged dwarven woman wearing just full plate armor with a huge eye insignia stamped into the breastplate, the pauldrons. Her hair is done in a series of long braids, each tipped with a spike of metal that sort of clatter as she swaggers in. She has a iron circlet around her head, and she has the surety of stride of someone who is very important. This is obviously Esmerelle. And behind her, you hear the thudding, clanking steps of an enormous iron form as the Iron Shogun himself steps out from behind the curtain. His enormous body is obviously the remains of an iron golem. It is 15 feet tall, towering over everyone else at the table, made of intricately crafted interlocking plates of dark metal that move with a inhuman stiffness as he clanks out. The whole thing looks incredibly formidable, designed for battle, and perched in between the shoulders of this enormous metal body is the head of an ancient dwarf. A bald head covered with liver spots gives way to a small ring of white wispy hair that trickles down the back of his head, and a thin wispy white beard trails over the chest of this enormous iron golem dangling down. This guy looks rough. He and this massive formidable body almost like totters out, being led by his daughter Esmerelle, who's got an entire hand wrapped around one of his iron fingers and is seemingly leading him out of this curtain. He's got dark circles around his eyes, and he seems a little slack-jawed as he wanders out. And he stands still for a minute, looking over the crowd with this glazed expression. And then his daughter Esmerelle clears her throat and looks up at him. He looks down at her confused for a moment and then says,
Oh, yes, of course. Welcome, esteemed guests, to my hold. May you all find warmth by our spires, by our fires, and may your bellies be filled by our feast. I welcome you all to our hold. May you find...
and his daughter nudges him.
Oh, yes. Please eat.
And his daughter leads him to this enormous iron chair, which he slowly and almost like it seems painfully lowers himself into. And once his daughter is sure that he's like set, she goes to her seat next to his. And there's a very weird vibe in the room for a minute or two as the Iron Shogun finishes his speech before everyone starts to chat again. An army of dwarven servants brings out silver platters full of roasted fungus and giant flanks of mole steak and various other dwarven delicacies, and fills everyone's glasses. And yeah, you all are presented with some delicious food at your end of the table.
I eat.
I also well, I don't want to just do the exact same thing. Well, okay, I also eat.
Yeah, we eat the food, obviously.
Respectfully, of course.
Was it Elisa?
Esmerelle.
Why did I think Elisa?
Gargoyles. Elisa Mazza from Gargoyles. Brian, we've been over this.
Esmerelle.
Yes.
Do I know anything about her?
Bardic knowledge, you son of a bitch.
22.
Esmerelle is a well-known figure in Grotmire. She is the only daughter of Dolbear Iron Eye, the Iron Shogun. She is middle-aged. Normally, she would have taken the throne by now if her father wasn't being kept alive by a fucking golem. She is the commander of the dwarven forces. She drills her men hard and makes sure that the dwarves are constantly up to fighting force. And she regularly sort of parlays on behalf of her father, who is not often seen in public these days. She is next in line for the throne.
Have I heard just like any particular stories of like heroic note about her?
She led a force into a collapsing mine shaft and saved 50 miners from cave-in.
Who hasn't saved some dwarven miners from a cave-in? Cool. Good to know about her.
As you all tuck in to your meals, the Iron Shogun scans his incredibly wrinkled old face over the crowd dining. He looks down at his own plate, overflowing with rich foods, and he looks terribly confused, almost lost. There's a small edge of fear sort of creeping over his features, and he looks at the table he's sitting at. You all are on the far side, a couple seats away from him. The other side is filled with dwarven dignitaries and people of note. But as his eyes fall over all of you, you see him reach. You see him sort of lean over to his daughter, and he tries to whisper, but it just comes out in conversational tone. Who are those four on the end there? Do we know them? And that is where we'll end. Hey there, dear listeners. Sam the DM here. No, your ears do not deceive you. There is no As the Dice Turns segment after today's episode. Instead, I wanted to take a moment to give our dear listeners a little update on how things are going here at Challenge Rating Zero HQ. We are reaching the end point of our current campaign. I don't know exactly when we're going to wrap things up, but probably around episode 100 or so, I think my campaign's going to come to an end, and we are already hard at work on season 2. We've got a new campaign, a new dungeon master lined up. We'll wait to make that official, though those of you who are on Patreon and subscribe to us already have some insight into what we're going to be doing in season 2. But I also wanted to bring up that the As the Dice Turn segment, when we started making the show 4 years and 80 episodes ago, seemed like a great and sustainable concept, and it turns out that coming up with specific questions about the nature of fictional characters can be a little bit taxing when you have to do it 80 plus times. We're running out of questions, which is why sometimes we're doing other things with this particular little space. If any of our dear listeners out there have any questions they'd like to pose to our protagonist in the As the Dice Turn segment, you can send those questions to Challenge Rating Zero. That's Challenge Rating ZERO at gmail.com. Any questions we read will be read on the air. And also, we're going to be trying some different stuff with the segment, kind of switching things up here in the next couple episodes. So just wanted to prepare you for that. Also, wanted to apologize for this episode being late. I try to get these out relatively on time, but, got the day job, all the other responsibilities this lovely life throws at us, so sometimes we fall a bit behind. I appreciate everyone's patience and, putting up with us when we have delays and stuff like this. We're putting this episode out today on the 2nd. We missed a week. The next episode will be coming out next Monday on the, the 9th? So, we will be relatively kind of back on schedule next week. Thank you all so much for listening. We got some interesting announcements for you folks here in the next few days, so keep an eye on the feed and be good to each other out there. Here are the credits. Hey there, dear listener. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating Zero was edited by the incomparable Audius Prime, aka Matt Sims. You can find more of his work at audiusprime.com. Music for Challenge Rating Zero, including our amazing theme song, is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com, including her album Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change. Additional music for Challenge Rating Zero is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work at justinra.com, including his album Age of the Spirit. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Challenge Rating Zero. We are at Twitter at Challenge_Zero. And if you'd like to email us here at the show and send any questions for As the Dice Turn segment, you can send any emails to challengeratingzero@gmail.com. Any questions we receive will be read on air. If you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/CR_ZERO. We've got some bonus content on there for you folks if you are interested. And if you can't support us fungibly, we ask only that maybe you take some time to give us a review, recommend us to a friend, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. We're still trying to make the best show we can for you folks. We're going to keep on keeping on. I hope you all take care of yourselves and each other out there. We'll see you next time.